I can only talk about my experience, and my experience would be just go back to basics.
Yeah.
Do whatever got you in that position in the first place. No doubt he's got a lot of people in his ear telling what he should and shouldn't do, but he's got to ask himself one thing: how have I got myself in a position to whereby I score 30 goals? And how can I get myself back in that position to whereby I could possibly score another 30 goals?
Hello and welcome to Stretford Paddock. My name is Joe and this is a very, very special interview with none other than Manchester United legend Andrew Cole. We don't need any introductions. He's one of the greatest strikers that the Premier League has ever seen. Let's just get straight into it. Thank you, Andrew, for coming back on the channel. Very good to speak to you. Firstly, just talking about this game then, Manchester United versus Celtic, obviously a classic fixture. What can you tell us about this Legends game? How much are you excited for it?
I'm always excited, to be honest, to catch up with the boys and all that. As people say, you're a long time inside, which you are, and having the opportunity to catch up with a lot of the boys that you played with, it's always nice. Unfortunately for me, obviously I can't play anymore, but just to be around, having a laugh and show the camaraderie that you had for so many years, it's always enjoyable.
Yeah, it must be great sort of seeing everyone and getting back together with everyone. Obviously, do you expect, I know you said you're not playing anymore, but the competitiveness of these games, does it surprise you? Does everyone kind of have that little glint in their eye where, yeah, it's just it's a friendly, it's for charity, but actually once that whistle goes, it feels a little bit different?
I wouldn't say it feels a little bit different. There is a difference. I think once you have this mentality of winning, even when you get to our age, you still want to win. And that's the crazy thing about it. And that's when you got that winning mentality. It never ends. So, yeah, look, we'll always have a laugh and joke leading up to the game. But I say once you cross the white line, you want to go out there. You want to win the football match. And, you are a slightly bit disappointed if you don't win. But in the end, it's all for charity. And I think it's a case of everyone getting together and just enjoying the day.
Yeah, I love that. I love that no matter what, you can't switch off that competitive element. But I guess that's what's won you so many trophies and got you so many goals down the years, is that absolutely innate competition. Obviously, we're looking at the dugout and you've got Brian Robson in there, Wayne Rooney's in there as well. What are they like as characters in that position? Obviously, Brian Robson played for years under Sir Alex Ferguson. Does he have that hairdryer in him? Does he have any sort of Sir Alex tendencies when he's managing?
No, to be fair, Robbo is very cool. I think Robbo he reminds me when he used to play, to be fair. You hardly ever saw Robbo lose his temper. But always knew Robbo would put his foot in. So nothing really changes for him. I've been working with Robbo for quite a few years now, and I enjoy his company. I enjoy being around him because what he is as an individual.
Yeah.
He has so much respect from his peers, and just all the stories obviously about when he was playing, and he's got a lot of charisma around him. So like I said, I enjoy being around him, but there's no tendencies like Sir Alex Ferguson for the hairdryer or anything like that.
Yeah.
And if there was, I don't think anyone would take him seriously because, like I said, Robbo never gets angry. So yeah, it's just good to be around him.
That sounds great. In a charity game, if someone's getting an absolute screaming at, people might start looking around going, hang on a sec, this is meant to be for a good cause. I mean, talking about the cause, of course, the United Foundation, something that you've done a lot of work with down the years. Just say a little bit about them as a foundation and the work that they do as well.
I think we all know and appreciate what they do. So working in the community, they put a hell of a lot of work into the community, and for all the funds to go towards the foundation to help people not as fortunate as others, especially in the time we find ourselves in now as well. It's really, really difficult for a hell of a lot of people. And what the Manchester United Foundation does is help those kind of people out. And like I say, I just think it's absolutely brilliant that, they can bring us all together, raise a hell of a lot of money, and they're putting it all in the right places. I just think that's a testament to everyone who works in the foundation. Forget about us who are fortunate enough to play the game. I think it's about everyone who works for the foundation and puts all the hard hours in, and puts all the money in the right places.
Yeah, it is great, like you said. To see all that come together in such a special way is absolutely fantastic. I mean, looking ahead to the game a little bit then, you've got the likes of Nicky Butt, Paul Scholes, Darren Fletcher involved, some of United's best ever midfielders. Looking to the current squad, you've got Mainoo, who seems to be sort of taking his career by storm. Since he made his proper debut in November, he's since played an FA Cup final, won that, played in the Euros final for England as well. He's just going from strength to strength. Do you think that one day we could mention Kobbie Mainoo's name in the same sort of conversation as the likes of Paul Scholes? What do you see as his sort of future at Man United?
I would like to think so. The way he started his career at Manchester United has been absolutely phenomenal. It's been a huge rise in a short period of time, and that's down to him. That's down to obviously him giving the opportunity to play, but for him to take the opportunity, and I think he's taken it with both hands. I know a lot's going to be expected of him this season, but he seems to have a very level head. From the outside looking in, he looks like, he's definitely one of those individuals who's more than prepared to listen and learn and try and take himself to the next level.
Yeah, I mean, it's great to see it. Just the rise of his career. I don't think I've ever seen anything like it in sort of my time watching Man United. It's been the explosion from academy to such a relied upon member of the squad is just like unique, isn't it? I mean, looking at another player who's just come into the squad as well, Joshua Zirkzee, obviously playing in a position you're very familiar with, got off the mark against Fulham, one of your former clubs as well. How important is it that a new striker at Manchester United comes in and gets a goal early on? How much will that be a weight off his mind? Obviously, the results since haven't been particularly good at all. But in terms of him and his confidence going forward for the season, getting a goal early and sort of proving that you can score in the Premier League, how big will that be for him?
Yeah, to get off the mark at a club like Manchester United, you want to do that as quick as possible. Because however you look at it, he's always going to be judged on goals. I see something, he said he's not a 9, he's not a 10, he's a 9.5. It doesn't matter if you're 9 3/4. You're expected to score goals at Manchester United, and it's as simple as that. So no doubt he knows that as well. He knows with himself and Rasmus this season, they're gonna have to go out there and get as many goals they can do for Manchester United.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough, isn't it? He had those couple of chances against Liverpool. The ball didn't quite make it in the back of the net, but when you're getting a chance or two at 3-0 down, it becomes pretty difficult to sort of force yourself into the sort of the conversation of the game anyway. I mean, looking at some of the other signings United made this summer, it's been quite a big summer in terms of transfers. Plenty of outs, plenty of ins as well coming from Man United. What have you made of United signings this summer? I mean, the first 3 games haven't been particularly good in terms of performance, but have you rated the likes of De Ligt and Yoro and Mazraoui coming in, and obviously Ugarte still to come as well? What have you made of United's window?
Well, it looks, from me, it's looked like it's the window and that they've but the players that they've brought in are the type of players that they wanted to bring in. I'm not going to sit and try to judge players on 3 games. Who does that? Or 1 game?
Yeah.
1.5 game. But at this present moment in time, of course, all like positive signings. But we just have to wait and see how everyone gels. And you touched on it there. The performances for you haven't been the best, but it's only 3 games in. And you're going to have teething problems at the start of the season. See, my time at Manchester United, we weren't the quickest starters then. I'm not saying that obviously the start of Manchester United have had so far a win and 2 losses. I'm not saying we started anything like that, but we was always renowned for not starting the best. And we seem to come on stronger in the second half of the season. So I'm hoping now the international breaks come along. Guys obviously gone away, gonna lick their wounds and come back after internationals and get themselves back on the horse again and start winning football matches.
Yeah, I like that, the not judging people too quickly. I think a lot of people, especially social media, when everyone just needs to have an opinion immediately, and if a signing doesn't score 3 goals in his first 3 games, it must be terrible. Like, everyone wants to judge Man United after 3 games this season, and like you said, especially new signings, you can't do that really. I mean, looking a little bit at that Liverpool game then, as much as it pains me to do it, what did you make of that performance and that result? Obviously not a good result, but is there anything in there where you think we can see some positives, or is it just a case of put it behind you, go away for a couple of weeks, play with your international teammates and come back refreshed? How would you be approaching that?
You've got to put it behind you. What are you going to do? Come back in 2 weeks' time and still talk about, we lost 3-0 at Liverpool. I mean, sorry, home to Liverpool. You can't afford to do that. You just got to get your head down. I'm not I think as ex-players, and especially like myself, having played the game and understand the game to the level that I do understand it, I'm not going to sit here and have a go at anybody. Oh, Casemiro. Oh, it's Casemiro's fault. It's Casemiro's fault. Football's 11 aside. Yeah, okay, Casemiro. Pass broke down the score from it, but ultimately for me, in all those situations, they still had to travel, I don't know, 20 yards or whatever it may be to create that chance to score a goal. Football's a team game.
If you're playing for Man United now, are you of the mindset of, I wish there was a game in 3 days so we can make right what we did wrong in that Liverpool game? Or are you sort of thinking, I'm glad this international break's here, give me a bit of time to reset? What kind of mindset would you have if you were one of those players?
But for me personally, I'd want a game within a couple of days.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone wants to go away after losing 3-0 at home to your biggest rivals, basically, Liverpool. You don't want to go away for 2 weeks because for the next 2 weeks you're spewing, thinking about, we lost 3-0 to Liverpool. You want to get back on the horse straight away. You want to play football matches. But it is what it is. And you have to get on with it. You have to accept it and bounce back.
Yeah. Try and take the positives from the situation that they're in. I mean, if you look at the season as a whole and the expectations for this season, looking back to last year, it was an awful league campaign, obviously the worst Premier League finish that United have had. But we had that FA Cup win, which felt like a sort of saving grace for the club, for the manager even potentially, but certainly as fans, that was something that I'll look back on fondly from last season, even though the rest of the performances weren't great. What do you think the expectations should be for this season? Would a trophy in a poor league position kind of suffice, or do you think we have to see improvement in the league?
I think someone asked me this a couple of days ago, and I turned and said, look, Manchester United will finish where Manchester United deserve to finish. And it's as simple as that. Now, wherever they deserve to finish, that will go down to how many games they win, how many games they lose, and how many games they draw.
Yeah.
And it's that simple. Football will never change. We could both sit and say Manchester United are going to finish second. We don't know, do we? Manchester United have to win football matches to do just that. And if you're going to finish in a lofty position, you're going to have to gain more points than you don't gain. And it's that simple. So I'm not going to sit and say, Man United going to finish in the top 10, top 4, whatever. They will finish in a position they're good enough to finish in. Yeah. And it's that simple.
I mean, one player I want to ask you about who obviously is loved by a lot of United fans and is a homegrown player and is a fantastic talent is Marcus Rashford. Now, he's someone obviously doesn't quite play the same position that you did, but he's made his sort of career on scoring goals for Man United. He got 30 goals the season before last. He's going through a bit of a tough time at the moment. What would you say around his form and the way fans kind of approach him? Because I just get the feeling, I mean, I'm someone that absolutely loves Marcus Rashford, and I feel like he's just getting a little bit of stick, and I feel like, do you have a sort of, not a message for him, but if you're him or you're talking about Marcus Rashford, what can he do to get that form back? What would you be trying if you're him?
Basics. I'm a basic guy.
Yeah.
I mean, if I ever went for a sticky patch, I always want to go back to basics. I mean, if you go back to basics where it all started, how you got yourself in certain positions, how you scored certain goals, if you go back to those, you can't go far wrong, because that's how you got into the team in the first place. And that's me, and that was my mentality. So I'm not going to say, well, I think you should do X, Y, Z. No, that's not for me to say. I'm an individual that, like I said, if I went for a tough spell, I always want to go back to basics. Right? How did you do this? How did you do that? I mean, yeah, of course you're going to work that little bit harder in training. Of course you're going to do whatever you have to do in training. But ultimately, it's translating it from the training ground onto the football pitch. I can only talk about my experience, and my experience would be just go back to basics.
Yeah.
Do whatever got you in that position in the first place. No doubt he's got a lot of people in his ear telling him what he should and shouldn't do, but he's got to ask himself one thing: how have I got myself in a position to whereby I scored 30 goals? And how can I get myself back in that position to whereby I could possibly score another 30 goals? And I think Marcus has got to work it out for himself. I think my time at Manchester United, not just as a player, but supporting the club and being at the club for a long time, I think he's the only local kid from Manchester that seems to get a hell of a lot of flack from the supporters for whatever reason. The only way you can answer that is doing the right thing, scoring goals, playing well, and getting them back on side again.
It's a shame, innit? I feel like a lot of the stick Rashford gets, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of reasons why it happens, some reasons more sinister than others, but I feel like he's a player that we should all want to love so much. And yet down the years, whenever he has a couple of bad games, and obviously it's a little bit more than a couple of bad games at the moment, but it feels like people have been so quick to turn on him down the years, and I don't really understand why. Like you mentioned, he's a local guy, he loves Manchester United, he's a fan, he's done some brilliant things in a United shirt, he always turns up in big games a lot as well, and yet for some reason there's this like disconnect where fans are really quick to turn on him. I don't understand it. I really don't get it at all.
Well, you'll know better than me. Why is that disconnect there? But like I said, it's very, very surprising for myself. You know, obviously growing up and playing with the class of '92, all those boys and people like Fletcher who come after, Shazy who come after. You know, they've come through the academy. You know, then they've been fantastic players for Manchester United. And like I said, Marcus is the only boy that I've known, the local boy born in Manchester, that has taken a little bit of stick from the fans, and like so I find that very, very surprising, because it takes a lot for Manchester United to give their home players a little bit of flack.
Yeah, it's sad. It's surprising to me as well. Right, Andrew, thank you so much for coming on. It's been great to have you back on the channel. And of course, make sure you check out that charity game to everyone watching at home as well. 7th of September at Old Trafford. Andrew Cole as the assistant manager to Brian Robson. I mean, just finally, how exciting is it doing that role as the assistant manager? How's that been, sort of setting that up and getting together with the club and all that, sort of getting involved with that coaching side of things?
That's been really cool. I've really enjoyed that. And I think for me personally, every opportunity I've had to do a little bit of coaching, get on the grass and work with centre forwards, and I've really enjoyed it. And I mean, I would do that any day of the week, to be brutally honest.
Yeah.
You know, if someone asked me to do it again, I'll definitely do it, just to be out there and be involved in the event and just try to lend my experience to young players or whatever it may be. I'd love to do it again. So to get involved as an assistant manager, obviously Robbo and that, and just having a laugh and joke with the boys, you know, for me personally, it means a hell of a lot, definitely.
Yeah, I love to hear that as well. Like, we've seen United in recent seasons. Obviously, Benny McCarthy was there last season. We've got Ruud van Nistelrooy at the club now. Obviously, you're one of the greatest strikers of all time. Your influence, your advice, your opinions would be amazing. I mean, I'd love to see you coaching and working with the first team. I think, you know, we talk about Marcus Rashford. What better influence and advice could you get than, you know, someone like yourself? So hopefully in the future, maybe we could even see that.
I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure about that. I think that's a little bit too stressful, that, but like I said before, and every opportunity I've done, going in with my good mate Sol when he's got a job, and just being able to be out there on the grass, like I said, just lending experience for me, because the game and individuals have changed a hell of a lot now. To lend experience to players for me was paramount when I was younger, coming through as a kid. I loved it. I loved all the pros trying to help me out. And yeah, he's gone away from that now. Because I think the younger generation have got themselves in a position whereby I don't think they're really taking a lot of advice from ex-players and that. But like I said, as a coach, just to lend your experiences, yeah, it's top drawer.
Yeah, brilliant. I mean, like I said, make sure everyone at home, you check out that game. If you can get tickets, of course, go down to Old Trafford. 7th of September, Manchester United versus Celtic. Andrew, thank you once again so much for coming on the channel. It's been absolutely brilliant to chat to you.
No problem. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.